Is May 9th, the 9th, 2016. We're at Marlboro. We're at the Marlboro business of Tom Fusco. Of Tom, the business of Tom Fusco of Alcon Power Equipment, located on Auger Hole Road. My name is Alex Connor. Today's production crew is on video camera, Soren Whitehouse, on audio recorder, Logan McKay, and on still recorder, Soren Whitehouse, Logie. Okay. Okay. It's gonna go great.
Best intro ever. Okay, now pull back.
Okay, so I'd like to ask you a few questions about your background.
Okay.
So have you always lived in Marlboro, or when did you move here from where else?
No, I was born and raised in Windsor, Connecticut, and then I started coming to Vermont when I was 8 years old. When I got a little older, I used to hang around with the folks next door, Ellis Greenwood and his family, and then when I looked around for a place originally to camp that I was going to build, and I bought some property, and then that looked like a big endeavor to get in it before winter, and this house went for sale across the street, and I bought that house. And then when I got married, I moved up here with my wife in 1967, and we remodeled that house, and we lived there till 1994. Okay. In 94, I worked for UPS, and I got injured on the job, and I couldn't go back, and I had to find something else to do that I could do at home, okay? And I didn't want to travel too far away, and I had a pretty bad back injury, and what I finally wound up doing was deciding to go into this small engine business. At the same time, I decided it was time to have a different house. So what we did was built this building with the shop in one part of it and the garage, and then upstairs we have a park, okay, so, which works out pretty nice, except for when I'm lugging the groceries up and downstairs. And that's how we wound up here.
Cool. What are your parents' names, and what were their careers, and are they still active now?
What was this again? My parents?
Yeah.
Well, my mother's name was Alice. She was born in Haydenville, Mass. My father's name was Thomas. He was born in Windsor, Connecticut. And my dad's passed away. My mother is 94. She's still driving. She's still in good shape, and she lives in South Carolina now.
What? What were their careers? Their careers? Like, what did they do for jobs?
Didn't get you. Like I said, my hearing's really bad. We'll share this.
What were their careers?
Oh, my father was a businessman. He had a liquor store. He had a number of gas stations in Connecticut. My mother was a housewife. She was a former Miss Connecticut. She went on to have a real estate company, a shoe store, and a construction company of her own. And she retired down south. And she kept pretty active right up until a couple of years ago when she sold her interest in another company.
How would you describe yourself as a child?
Happy and in trouble. always doing stuff. Just pretty active. I was pretty outgoing, and I used to travel around a lot. Things were a lot better than you were, I think, safer. I used to travel through the city and the town, hitchhike places and stuff. And I wouldn't recommend it now.
How many brothers or sisters do you have, and what are their names?
I got two brothers, Dean and Dennis, and a sister named Patricia. and all of them moved with mom to South Carolina.
What high school did you attend?
Windsor High School in Connecticut.
And what did you do in the summer after completing high school?
I went right to work. I went to college nights. I worked for 2 years after high school. I worked for the family's business, which was the oil business, and I went to college nights. And then after I finished college, I went to work for a company called Stanadyne, which makes fuel injection system for diesel engines, and I worked there for about 12 years.
Okay, wait. Sorry. Would you mind pulling up your hat a little bit? I mean, you don't have to take it off, just like up a little bit.
I look funny without my hat. I look funny with it.
Thank you.
Where did you go to college?
University of Hartford.
And what was your plan of study there?
I took business and economics.
Would you describe yourself differently as a teenager than when you were a kid?
Yeah, I was, even when I was small and as a teenager, I was a lot more mature. I used to hang around with adults more, and business people and stuff, and you know, tradespeople, because that's what the town was, rather than, you know, a lot of games and stuff. I was always building something or doing something.
Mm-hmm.
With old cars, and we always wanted a car, so we had a lot of junks to work on.
When did you marry? When did you get married to Patricia?
1966.
And how did you meet?
We worked together at the same place.
What has been her career?
She was a import attorney for a large corporation in Hartford. And she used to be in charge of all the legal aspects of importing, exporting equipment, and they did a lot of foreign countries. They had a number of foreign plants where they used to bring in parts and equipment, so she was in charge of all that.
Do you have any children?
Yep, I have a son, Stephen. He lives with us. He was born brain damaged. He's mentally challenged. He is a real happy soul. He works. He didn't go to Marlboro School, but he went to the Winston Prouty Center, and then to the Hicks School, and then into the program at the high school. And he graduated in 1991 from the high school. I guess they call it graduation, completion. And all that time he's been working, since then he's been working at McDonald's in supportive employment, and he's been there going on 26 years. So he does pretty well.
Mm-hmm. May I ask you how old you are now?
How old I am? I'm old. 73.
So I'd like to ask you some questions about your work as an owner of Alcan Power Equipment. When was Alcan established?
In 1994, when we built the building, that's what we built this part of it for, was to be a small engine shop.
Mm-hmm.
And when I built it, I said, we're never going to get that big, but we've gotten pretty good sized. Even because, let's face it, out here, you don't have a big traffic flow.
How would you describe your business?
It's busy. The bad part about it is that you're very busy, and then you get January, February, and March, and you're very dull. You just stand by the window and hope somebody swings in to say hi.
How did you come up with your business name?
2 ways. I got Alcan off the Alcan Highway to Alaska, and the second, I wanted to be when you're listed in the phone book. Mm-hmm. If you're in the A's, you're the first ones they come to. So that's why I put that in there.
Would you please give a brief overview of the history of Alcan?
What do you mean?
Just like how did it become one?
Well, we just started up, and I had the background in mechanics, and I just started off slow and called people and opening up, and slow but sure, and I tried to give really good service and stuff and good prices, and if you do, they'll show up.
Mm-hmm. In your working life, have you had any jobs besides Alcan?
Oh yeah, I worked, you mean before?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I worked, I was a shop foreman for a Chevrolet dealership in Brattleboro, and then I had my own service station down in Brattleboro on Canal Street for a while, and then I went to work for United Parcel Service for 22 years. And when I got hurt, that's when I had to go onto this.
Why did you want to become involved with power and equipment in the first place, and what about it made you interested enough to start? It's kind of repetitive, but...
What, for this business?
Yeah.
It was something I could do with the injury I had. It's not big, it's small, and if my back was bothering me or something you could work on a while, put down and go back to. You know, with the, I can't finish this today, I get it tomorrow, you know. Yeah. If that was the way it was, so it's not bad.
What are some of the reasons why you have continued to be involved with your business?
Well, I just like to see it grow, and my wife says, why don't you retire? But I can't watch television all day. I don't want to. And it's nice, I have people coming, you know, meet all the people and stuff, and that's part of it. It's really some interaction, you know.
What kind of equipment do you sell and service?
We service almost everything that comes in the door. Tractors, lawnmowers, you wouldn't believe some of the stuff we've had. Boats, we've done all kinds of stuff. We sell mostly regular lawnmowers, riding tractors, and some commercial equipment. And we can get almost anything anybody needs around here, you know. And we sell a lot of generators, and we service those.
What are specific brands of power equipment do you carry?
What brands?
Yeah.
The list is so long it isn't funny. Engines, we have Briggs & Stratton, we have Kohler, we have Tecumseh, we have Kawasaki, Subaru, to name a few. And equipment we have like Ferris and Poulin, Johnson Red chainsaws, Dolmar chainsaws, Tanaka lawn equipment, Bad Boy commercial mowers. Well, there's quite a bit of stuff.
Would you give me a sense of what a typical year is like business-wise?
Run that one by me again.
Would you give me a sense of what a typical year is like as a business?
A year? Well, like I said, January, February, March are usually, depending on the weather, pretty slow. If you get a lot of snowstorms and snow blowers and other equipment like sanders break down, then it's busy. Like this year was horrible. It didn't snow enough to amount to anything. Then come this time of year, March, April, May, the phone starts ringing off the hook. And everybody, like, my lawn is growing and I've got a wedding next week and the lawn has to be mowed and my mower doesn't run. Nobody brought anything in early. So that all compressed into a short period of time. So it makes it kind of hectic. And then after that, you get past Memorial Day, it starts to level off. And then you get into July and August, if it's dry, the mowing slows down a bit and people back off a bit.
Would you describe the main activities of your business? What portion of your income is based on sales and what part on repair?
Most of it's service. We sell very small, probably only 10% is based on equipment sales. Probably another 20% on part sales and the rest is service.
Do you have any employees or do you take care of all the sales and repairs?
No, I have a fellow that helps me part-time, and I do a lot of it myself. And I have a second fellow that if I get into trouble, he can help me if necessary.
What does one need in order to repair power equipment?
Well, nowadays, they want you to be authorized, that's what they call authorized. You have to go to a training school. And you have to sign up with a contract for each individual manufacturer. So it gets to be expensive, it gets to be time consuming to start out. I was fortunate enough, I had the time and I had the background, so it wasn't too bad.
Do you repair equipment that, other than the brands that you sell?
Do we repair others? Oh yeah, and almost anything that comes in, people. And if we can't repair it, we send them someplace that can, but there's very few stuff that we have to turn away.
Do you have any typical customer that always seems to buy your products?
Oh yeah, we have a lot of steady customers. We have a lot of steady customers for service that keep hitting rocks all the time with their equipment and breaking it.
Mm-hmm.
Come in almost weekly, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yep.
Do you advertise?
Oh yeah. Do a little bit in the papers and local papers, Brattleboro and then Dover. Go there.
How did you learn to run a business and promotional parts of your job?
How did I learn to run it?
Yeah.
Well, my folks always had a business and I was born and brought up in it. And I worked with them even, like we have a grocery store. When you folks have a grocery store, you usually a little bit rubs off on you.
Yeah.
Well, they had a number of businesses and I always helped after school or something, worked after school part-time.
What ideas or experiences would you say have influenced your thoughts about running a business and specifically your business?
To people on the outside, you've got to have a lot of technical background. You have a mechanical background. First of all, you got to have a business background. Second, you can have a business background and you have to hire people all the time, and you want to know that what they're doing is right. That's where a lot of these places run into trouble, because they hire people and they're mechanical, but they're not really qualified to know what's going on. And it's kind of like a click. Some of the stuff that they make is not really readily made to be serviced. It's kind of more of a throwaway type stuff now.
Would you please describe a typical day of your work from when you get up to when you finish the day?
I get up at 7 and I get down here, open up, and what I do is get the equipment out front, flag outside. We get all the rest of our stuff going, clean out the bay, line up our work for the day that we have to do, line up any pickups or deliveries that we have to do. Then I go to do billing and making out parts and ordering parts. And then, like you see now, people coming in, we unload stuff in the afternoon, set up our appointments. And by then, usually the day goes by pretty fast. And it's the end of the day. Well, time to go home.
So your home is right above your business, and what are some of the personal benefits from working at home, and what are some of the downsides?
Well, some of the benefits, the commute short. I'm here if the family needs me, I'm close by. Some of the detrimental things is every time my wife wants something, she'd get her hands on me. It's pretty good. I mean, sometimes we've been lucky, we haven't been bothered too much, like people coming after hours and stuff. I answer the phone and people say, oh, I want to bring something in, I can't get in. Leave it by the door, I'll go down tonight and put it away, you don't have to. But for the most part, it's been pretty good.
I'd like to ask you about a different topic before we continue with Alcan.
Okay.
So, Would you be willing to talk about Hurricane Irene? The storm occurred in August of 2011, and would you please describe what happened in this part of Marlboro during the storm and its aftermath?
Yeah, that was quite an adventure. What happened? I know it was raining hard, and I got up in the morning. And we could look out at the brook, and like I said, we lived here almost 50 years, and it didn't look like it was that high. And the phone rang, and they called, Lisa called, and she said, "Get out of the house right now, there's a wall of water headed down the auger hole." And I'm going, "See any water?" And I put my coffee down. I looked out this window, I didn't see anything. I walked to the front window, and I see water starting to come through the trees over here, across the front lawn. I'm like, uh-oh. So I grabbed my wife and my son, we jumped in the van, and we took off. The water was that deep in the driveway then. We took off down the road, and we went down to my brother-in-law's, which is on Dover Road. Figured we were gonna stay there. And they came, my brother-in-law's, and told him he had to evacuate. So we wound up going up the hill to Freddie Jennis' house, and he has an apartment in the garage. And we stayed up there, and we thought we were gonna spend the night there. And after about 4 hours, they said, "You can go home now." Like, the water went down that fast. 4 hours. We came back, and the driveway was gone, the sand was gone, the little barn out there was washed out in the field. This had some water in it. It was pretty messy. It took me 4 weeks of really working hard, 18 to 20 hours a day to get the grounds back in shape, or even, usable. And it took us a lot to get the business back in shape. It was an awful hit. We lost a lot of parts and stuff that were sitting on the floor. We didn't get that much water in here. The water comes in, this floor is slow to run out. The water came in, got everything wet, and then rained out. So we didn't have standing water in the building, which was good. So,
I remember there were some ditches along the road, and then the mud.
Oh, it was pretty bad. It could have been a lot worse. Hopefully we won't see it again.
You and your wife took an important role for the residents along Auger Hole Road. Would you like to talk about what you did to assist your friends and neighbors during the crisis?
Oh, we set up a phone. I was doing, I had all the calls relayed. The phones were out, so I had all the calls relayed to my cell phone, which works here. And it only works on this side of the building. And we used to have people at night, everybody was down here making calls and stuff. And we had people leave all their cars here. And finally, Mark and I went over, people were stranded and they didn't get the bridge fixed, so we went over, we got some beams and some lumber and stuff. We put wood down, made a little wooden bridge so they could drive the cars and get them on this side of the bridge so they could get in and out. And we were taking messages for people and running supplies up and down to different people and stuff, so it was pretty hectic.
What are some of the lasting changes that occurred as the result of the devastation? And is there anything positive about the change, or about the changes that...
From the storm?
Yeah.
I think positive thing, it brought people closer together in the neighborhood. It made you realize, be thankful for what you had. I was here cleaning up the mess, and I'm going, I'll never get this cleaned up. Where I was working at it, and all of a sudden, about 25 people showed up. I think people came from Williamsville and stuff on this, because they couldn't get down the upper road, and they came in, they took everything out of here, cleaned the whole place, piled up everything neatly, dried everything out, and then brought it back in. And I had to put it all back in the right place, but it really helped us out a lot and made me appreciate all the folks around here. It was really good.
Okay, thank you for discussing Irene with us. Now back to Alcan. So, how would you say your business has changed over your career?
the sales have gone down of whole goods like tractors and lawnmowers and stuff, because with the advent of Walmart and Tractor Supply, people run over there and they, you know, say, oh, they got a great deal. The one thing they have, they've got most of these places have a super finance deal, you know, sign here and you pay for 10 months or 5 years or whatever you want. But the one thing they don't have, you buy something there and it breaks or you're having trouble with it, they don't have any service.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. We get a lot of customers that know that they want service, they don't go back.
In your opinion, what are some of the difficulties that you and equipment businesses of your size face today?
It's hard to say. You mean the business itself?
Yeah, just working in the hardware store.
Well, no matter, today, the things that are rough on the business and people in Vermont are the taxes and stuff, and the state has gotten so heavy with rules and regulations that small business can't survive. It's getting harder and harder to survive. The only way you can do it is just be one person with nothing, or you have to be big. And they're driving out the mom and pop people, the people that are gonna start small and work big, because they never can get a chance to get bigger. You just kind of bury them.
What do you feel are the more important parts of your job, and in what ways does your job benefit others?
Well, we help a lot of people, and a lot of people come to us with problems that they can't get answers for anywhere else. We try to make sure everybody goes away happy, or at least solve some of their problems. I mean, we have people come in with, lady comes in bawling, she's having company and her barbecue grill is broken, so we had to fix it so she could have a cookout for her company. I mean, you know, and stuff like that. So it's a little odd, but we, you know, we go around and help people if we can, and just, you know, just try to take care of all the minute problems that there are.
Are there any parts of your job that you dislike and have to do anyway because that's the job?
Well, it's been pretty good. It really has. I think the hardest thing is kind of like just trying to pay the bills when the money lags, you know what I mean? People owe you money, you know you're good for it, but they don't pay you for a while. But your bills are due then, you know.
Yeah.
So trying to kind of keep the cash flow going, that's the hardest thing.
What do you see as the future of your job here in Marlboro?
Run that one by me again.
What do you see as the future for your business here?
I don't know. If something should happen to me, I don't know what will happen to it. I have nobody to take it over. That's something I've been thinking about. Also, I mean, I think it's viable because everybody I talk to that comes in is really happy we're here. And we seem to help out people if they're glad we're here. So it probably ought to be something that could stay if it's sustainable. If somebody wants to do it, you know, it would be great.
What people or experiences would you say have influenced you in your personal life, and what ways have they influenced you?
Well, it's a tough one. You mean as related to the business or just?
Just personal.
Personal? I think the worst thing that happened to me is when my grandfather passed away. That was, to me, that was a real shock. And I was older, but it was really, took me by surprise. It really had a big effect on me. We were really close, the two of us. So, and he taught me a lot of what I know about business and everything else. I mean, he came from the old country. He worked hard. He used to work, he had a business, he used to work, open at 7 in the morning and close at 11 at night. And he did that for years, but when he passed away, he was a multimillionaire. But he never stopped working, right until he was 65. He worked, we had to slow him down, because he used to get up at 6, 7 and work till 9, 10 o'clock at night even. So we finally had to get him to go home at 6 and have supper.
Is there anything else about your life or work that you'd like to mention that I haven't asked you about?
No, it's just that, you know, like sometimes living in town, the taxes in Vermont, they get expensive, and then I look around at the other places. Marlboro, I'm really glad to have lived here. I think it's been a good place to live, good place for my son to grow up. The people around here have been very nice and friendly, so I got no complaints.
Is that all? Thank you for your time.
Okay.